今から、よいしょ。通訳機能の確認をしたいんですが、通訳さん、ちょっと喋ってもらってもいいですか？
セスさんいらっしゃいますか？セ
はい、
スさん、
聞こえております。ちょ
あ、
っと
はい。
お声が小さいかもしれませんが、よろしくお願いします。はい、はい、助かります。So for now, the interpretation function is on.
失礼します。聞こえますでしょうか。ケンさん、よろしくお願いします。同時通訳設定お願いします。すみません。同時通訳設定を会場音声、入るようにお願いします。 Alex, if you can hear me, I can't hear you.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
I can hear the hall. I
Yeah,
can hear you, Alex. And
Yeah.
now
We all good?
Not yet. I need to be set up as a simultaneous interpreter, so otherwise you can't speak continually without being interrupted by me. And just a brief note, I don't think it's germane to you because you're very methodical in your speech, but I tell speakers not to speak too fast because the interpreter cannot keep up if you speak really, really fast in your native language.
Yeah, got it. I'll try not to talk too fast.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem.
All right, just let me know when you're ready for me to go.
Okay. Is Ken Matsumoto there? 松本さん、同日訳設定お願いしてますよね。すいません。同日訳設定された場合、事務局の方誰でもいいので必ず日本語チャンネルにも入ってください。そうじゃないと通訳の方からのメッセージが聞こえなくなります。
永瀬です。ズームに入ってます。ルーム、ちょっと対応してもらいます。ちょっと待ってくださいね。
はい、どうも。
セスさん、今、川口さんが対応してます。ちょっとお待ちください。
はい、誠にありがとうございます。
はい、すいません。
進行中、事務局の方、必ず日本語チャンネル誰かセットしてください。そうでないと通訳者からの悲鳴が聞こえません。
わかりました。すいません。気をつけます。
いやいや、大丈夫です。何も誤りじゃなくて、念のための確認です。
はい、はい、ありがとうございます。
はい、通訳に入ると、このフロアの方に声が出せなくなるためです。
了解です。
セスさん、今、通訳モードの設定がされたようなので、ちょっと確認お願いします。はい、日本語チャンネル聞こえてます。
バッチリです。
Yes, I can hear you right now.
I'd be happy to talk at all.
セスさんに連絡でする。もう少しお待ちください。今、川口さんが対応しています。
もう一回、アレックスに話しかけてもらって、セスさん、もう一回、アレックスに話しかけてもらっていいですか？多分これで、声が通ってると思います。
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
OK。
Are we good to go? All right. Thank you very much. どうぞよろしくお願いします。That's all the Japanese I know. So the rest will be in English. Thank you very much for joining me today. I want to call out all the organizers, all the speakers, all the sponsors, all the volunteers, and all of the people here today that make Scrum Tokyo a wonderful place to be. So thanks for joining me today. We're not showing the stuff on the screen here. Bear with me. Hang on. We're getting there. I did have slides. We're fixing technology. We're figuring stuff out here. So in the room, we're not displaying the slides on the screen, just so you know what's going on. Okay. Share screen again. Technical difficulties. It's not showing the slide deck. And they're beautiful slides too. Okay. Okay. We all good to go? All right. Thank you for being patient. Remember before the pandemic, nobody used QR codes? Now we all use QR codes. Here's my QR code. What you can do is you can download the slide deck and follow along, or you can look at the slide deck later. But this is for you if you want to get the slide deck. All right. We're getting there. It's not displaying the slides. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Welcome to the Kanban practices. All. I am your wizard today, a Kanban wizard. My name is Alex Slowly. I'm from Sydney, Australia, but I'm not originally from Australia. I'm from Seattle in the United States. And I grew up, I became an adult at Microsoft. And Seattle is where I learned all about Kanban. I do a lot of Kanban. I even married a Kanban trainer. This is my wife, Sally. She's an accredited Kanban trainer. And our kids use Kanban at home. And I'm talking about Kanban at a Scrum conference. But that's okay. You can use Kanban on Scrum teams too. So I want to talk about the Kanban practices. Maybe you're not familiar with the Kanban practices. Bear with me, it's connecting again. We just had a little technical issue again. Okay. I think I might be able to fix this myself. Let's see. Hopefully I fixed it. We'll find out. If we're lucky, it's fixed. How come you didn't have these issues, Heidi? Oh, there we go. It's back up on the screen now. Okay. So that's a little bit about me. But let's get to our topic today. We're going to talk about the wizard tower of Kanban. If you're not familiar with Kanban, you might learn something a little new today. There are 6 practices in Kanban as we use them on software teams. These are the 6 practices of Kanban. And for the sake of translation, I'll go ahead and read them off. The first practice is visualizing, making things visible. The second practice is limiting work in process. Work in process is sometimes called WIP. Managing flow is the third practice. The fourth practice, making policies explicit. Policies is just a fancy English word for rules. So on a Kanban team, you make the rules explicit or obvious. The fifth practice of Kanban is you have some type of feedback loop in your team. In a traditional Scrum team, you have feedback loops at the end of every sprint. Well, we have feedback loops in Kanban as well. And finally, the sixth practice, improve and evolve. You are now familiar with the 6 practices as defined by Kanban. But the question is, of these 6 practices, does a successful Kanban team have to do all of these and do them very well? Maybe there's only one practice you really have to do well on a Kanban team, and that's the one ring to rule them all. But let's explore each of these practices and see where that takes us. The first practice we'll explore The first practice we'll explore here's the first practice we're going to explore. We're going to explore visualization. The KMPs are the Kanban management professionals, and they're very invested in visualizing their work. You can see this wizard is visualizing his work using sticky notes, a very common practice for Kanban teams to have, visualizing on sticky notes. But you could visualize in software, for example. It is one of the 6 practices, but is it the most powerful practice? Does a Kanban team have to visualize? All right, we've got technical issues. I'm stopping the screen sharing.
And start again.
Okay, start again. All right, I apologize for the delay there. All right, so let's explore visualization. Do you really need visualization? Well, there are teams with people who have limited vision. They can't see. So how can a Kanban team with a team member who can't see or who has limited vision, how can they be on a successful Kanban team? And in fact, you really need to use vision at all on a Kanban team, even though visualization is one of the 6 practices. Can you use your other senses? Can you use your senses of taste or smell or touch? There are many different types of signaling systems in the world that do not rely on sight. You can buy sticky notes that are edible, flavored sticky notes. Can you imagine a Kanban team using flavored edible sticky notes? You wouldn't have to see the sticky notes at all. You would just have to taste them to understand what the work is. You can buy sticky notes that smell. What if you used Kanban tickets that smelled like something? You can buy tools designed for people who have low vision that you can put on things. They're like little recordable buttons. Can you imagine a Kanban team with recordable buttons that you press the button and it said something like, my work is this, I'm this sticky note? And all of these things exist in the real world, like foghorns warning boats not to come near the shore when there's a lot of fog. So this article right here is an actual scientific article about a Kanban team with a team member who had low vision. That person on that Kanban team couldn't see at all. And yet this Kanban team was still successful, and they wrote a case study and published it. And that's the link. That was the link right there. So, do you really need to visualize on a Kanban team? My answer is no, you do not. All you need to do is make the work accessible, but not necessarily visual. Which brings me to Kanban practice number 2. Just a moment, technical issues. Entertain you.
Kanban dance, right?
Kanban dance?
You can return the favor of me
That's easy.
suggesting those pretty things. if
Kanban
yours.
dance? The Kanban dance is this. Sticky notes, right?
Prioritize the backlog.
Once more, Kevin.
Kanban.
You want the questions from the crowd?
Like a Kanban question?
Do I have a comment question?
Do you have a Kanban question, Z?
Have you worked with, accessibility requirements?
Have I ever worked on a Kanban team that had accessibility requirements? I have not actually personally worked on a Kanban team with someone with accessibility issues. I have worked on waterfall teams with people who have accessibility challenges. What I can say is that it requires the whole team understanding how that person does their work and how they can do their work. It basically involves the team getting together and figuring out how to work together the best way possible. And I think that's what that Kanban team did with their low vision person. They just got together in a retrospective and said, how can we solve this challenge? Even though we use Kanban. Okay, good? Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay. I've been told it's okay. All right. See, getting back to your question, I think it's the team figuring it out. All right, welcome back. So we're going to talk about limiting WIP. Limiting WIP, or work in process, is the second Kanban practice. You can see here that this service delivery manager is only working on one sword at a time. So this same concept exists in Kanban teams. How do you work on one thing at a time? When you work on one thing at a time, you get things done more quickly. But is it truly the most powerful Kanban practice? I can tell you from experience, many Kanban teams I've been on do not limit work in process at all. In fact, they never set WIP limits in their Kanban, which is what you're supposed to do. And if they do have WIP limits, a Kanban team will violate those WIP limits pretty quickly. They do it all the time. So Kanban teams don't set WIP limits. And then if they do, they violate them. And finally, a lot of Kanban teams have an expedite lane where all the work becomes high priority in that lane and it automatically violates all WIP limits. So teams, successful Kanban teams, often don't limit work, and yet they're successful. So this also must not be the most important Kanban practice. What about the third practice then? This is for the service request managers. And that third practice is managing flow. Just like that wizard is managing the flow of that potion. In a Kanban, you should be able to see the work flow through the system. That's what Heidi was talking about earlier today, the Kanban team, wanting to see the work flow through on a daily basis. But is it really that important to practice? Many Kanban teams create a column in their Kanban for blocked work, which immediately blocks flow. Some Kanban teams don't even figure out how their work is represented in their Kanban. The columns in the Kanban are supposed to represent the work flowing through the system. They may not have an interpretation of how their work flows through their columns at all, in which case they don't see any flow in the Kanban. Or they might use a generic workflow for their Kanban: to do, in process, done. You can't see flow at all, where the work is, where it's going, where it's been. Or maybe they have a really rigid workflow where a Kanban team's Kanban board is applied across an entire company. 50 Kanban teams all using the same workflow, even though they do their work in different ways. And yet these Kanban teams are still successful to a certain extent. So that also means that managing flow is not the most powerful practice. Make your policies explicit. Just like this accredited Kanban consultant is writing down the rules of the road for his team. Every Kanban team is supposed to make their rules of how they work together and how the work gets done explicit. But many Kanban teams never make those policies explicit. You're supposed to write the rules of how the work flows through the system on sticky notes above each column. Here's how work enters the column. Here's how work exits the column. Kind of like a definition already or a definition of done on a Scrum team. A Kanban team does the same thing. Here's how work moves from column to column. But many Kanban teams never make that explicit. Many Kanban teams never come up with those policies at all. And even if they do come up with those policies, they violate them very frequently. So even though this is a powerful Kanban practice, it can't be the most powerful one. Which brings us to feedback loops for the accredited Kanban trainers. Scrum has feedback loops at the end of every sprint, the sprint review and the sprint retrospective. Well, in Kanban teams, we like feedback too. But in Kanban, there are no iterations. How do you get feedback loops if you have no iterations? There are no sprints. Some Kanban teams, because they have no iterations, never have a retrospective, ever. So how do they get those feedback loops and still be successful Kanban teams? So Feedback loops also can't be the most important practice. We've just covered the 5 practices. And I told you they're not very powerful, although they are crucial for Kanban teams. So what is the most powerful practice? That's for the Kanban coach. The most powerful practice, the one that rules them all, is improvement and evolution. And in fact, let's learn the 6 practices. There are also 6 principles in Kanban. I'll go over those really quickly. The first principle in Kanban, start with what you do now. You don't have to change your process at all. You can just start using Kanban. The second principle, agree to pursue improvement through evolutionary change. The third principle, encourage acts of leadership at every level. The fourth principle, understand and focus on customer needs and expectations. The fifth principle, manage the work and let people self-organize around it. And finally, the sixth principle, policies control service delivery. All right, so you've learned the 6 practices. You've learned the 6 principles. And I've said that the most powerful practice is improve and evolve. Here's why. Look at principle number 2. Improvement and evolution is so powerful that it is not only a practice, but a principle in Kanban. It is the only one like that. That's why that is the one ring to rule them all. If there's one thing a successful Kanban team has to do, it's improve and evolve. All the other practices are useful. All the other principles are useful, but this is the most powerful one. Evolution can be good or bad. You can change things and evolve, and they might not work. Or they might work. But one thing is for certain, if you stop evolving, you will die. And that's the most critical thing on a Kanban team. And in fact, I'd like to share a quote from a good friend of mine. That's Jim Benson. Jim Benson is one of the founders of the Kanban movement. He's the co-creator of Lean Coffee. You may have heard of Lean Coffee. And this is what Jim says. You improve or you wallow in expensive amateurism. So what Jim is saying here is that on a truly professional team, you have to invest in improving and evolving. Otherwise, you're just an amateur. Now, thank you for your patience today. We had a lot of technical challenges. I'm very invested in the Agile community. I speak at conferences all over the world. I help organize conferences, volunteer, attend, speak. And I'm very glad to see all of you today because you are investing in improving and evolving. And that's the most powerful Kanban practice. And if you want to learn more about the Agile community, go ahead, check out my book. It kind of explains how you can get involved more. And thank you very much. I appreciate your time. And I believe we have time for questions now. Thank you. Domo arigato. Oh, we've got a question in the room here. You ready?
I am working as an agile coach for my company Naxu Japan, and we are introducing. We've been trying to do Scrum in sprints, but there's certain projects or product ways of thinking that works in sprints and some don't. So I've introduced to some teams Kanban. But I'm also curious to hear from your perspective and experience, what kind of products or projects are suited for Kanban versus sprints and Scrum?
I'll let you translate that for a second. So the question is what's suitable? Okay, cool. So the question is, what should you use Kanban for or not? What should you use Scrum for or not? Remember how I told you I grew up at Microsoft? On my first Scrum team, Kanban wasn't really a thing yet. So we used Scrum for everything. So I never found a project where I couldn't get Scrum to work somehow. And it's true today, the reverse as well. I've never found a project where I couldn't get Kanban to work too. I guess my message here is that you can figure it out by reflecting and slowly evolving and changing Scrum and Kanban to suit your purposes. Now, in day-to-day life, Kanban works really great for like chaos, services. And Scrum really works well when you've got like a product delivery cadence. Those are generally what I would say that they're really suited for. But if you try hard, you can use them for anything. Does that help? Cool. All right, what other questions? Don't be shy.
Or did you let the artificial intelligence do the pictures for you?
No, I painted all those myself. The question was, who created our work on the slides? No, that is AI art. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, looks pretty
One of the
good.
best slides I've seen so far. So
No, I did do the one with Jim Benson. All right, what other questions do we have in the room? You know, one of the 5 Scrum values is courage. Who has the courage to ask me a question? I knew it would happen.
Could you maybe tell us something about your experience with improving, and what could you tell us about how to reach great improvement?
Specifically on a Kanban team, I can go into a company and I'll walk around the company, do like a Gemba walk, right? And I'll see all the dead Kanban boards lying around the office. The sticky notes have faded in the sun. They're like in a corner. Nobody's updated that Kanban board in like 3 years. I've been at places like that. They created a Kanban board 3 years ago, but haven't updated it. A dead Kanban board is dead because it's stopped evolving. On a Kanban team, the Kanban board is a visual manifestation of how the team works. So if the Kanban board dies because it stops evolving, it means the team stopped evolving, which means the team probably stopped reflecting and improving and changing. What that means on a Kanban team is that things never stay the same. They're always changing how they do their work in very small increments. So you need to have some kind of process where the team gets together on a frequent basis and talks about how to evolve. I've seen Kanban teams evolve their Kanban in their daily stand-up. I've seen teams like do it at offsites. I've seen teams do it at some kind of retrospective activity. But somehow they have to figure out how to evolve, because if they stop evolving, they die. 3 more minutes. I got time for one more. Oh, here we go.
Thank you very much. So actually, if one team, Kanban team, wants to collaborate with the team which is adopting Kanban, not Kanban like a Scrum or waterfall with strict deadline.
Yeah.
So if they want to create one single product for, let's say, one library,
yeah,
how to collaborate with the different team with different methodology?
Yeah, great. So the question is essentially about dependencies between a Kanban team and another team, whatever they use, right? One of the practices is visualization. The most effective technique to manage those inter-team dependencies on a Kanban team is visualization. So if you have a piece of work in your Kanban team, you write on the sticky note, hey, this work has a dependency on another team. So you make dependencies visual on your Kanban board. I mean, you can do it however you want, pink sticky notes, or maybe you put the word dependency on the sticky note. Or another one I've seen is you have a row in your Kanban board that's dedicated to dependent work. So all the sticky notes in this row depend on other teams. So you're tracking your dependencies or visualizing your dependencies on a Kanban team. When you can start to do that on a Kanban team, then you can start having conversations about what the dependencies are. When are they due? Are we going to have challenges? But first, you have to make them visual. All right. That's time. It is 1:45. I do know a little more Japanese. Are you ready? Okay, I'm done.
Sorry, I'm so sorry for the much of technical problems.
Thank you, everyone. Let me get out of your way. You and your next?
Reginal, great job.
ちょっと待ってくださいね。呼びますね。せつさん、最初トラブルがあったようで、申し訳ございませんでした。ありがとうございました。無事に終わってよかったです。はい。
You get, I'm his brother. It's my only claim to fame. He's my
はい。
brother. I
は
love
い、少々お待ちください。
Jen. I swear by it.
私もちょっとオンラインなので、会場の人に聞いてみますね。
Pieces, but
Yeah, I
boy,
wish
you
I'd gone a little more
私、別の通訳セッションに出ていて、これは出てなかったですね。はい、少々お待ちください。
Yeah, I should have charged money.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
セスさん、今、会場の人が来ます。少々お待ちください。ありがとうございます。セスさん、聞こえてますか？はい。
聞こえてますか？
ワイヤレスマイクが時々途切れてたとのことだったんですけど、会場ではどうですか？
特には会場では、途切れてる感じはなかったですけれども。でもネットワークが悪かったので、それの関係かもしれないですね。聞こえます。
すみません。会場の音声が聞こえないですね。
会場聞こえてますか？はい。はい。うんうん。
Well, yeah, you know how I was switching slides? I switched slides.
それが起きてたのは、セッションの、前半ですか、後半ですか？はい。前半はちょっと、あれですね、Wi-Fi のコネクションが全然うまく整えられてなかったので、たくさんディレイというか、うまく通信できてないような状況が続いていました。なので、音声の映像も結構ボロボロだったと思います。そうか。なるほど。はい。はい、わかりました。ありがとうございます。はい、失礼します。
セスさん、2時からのブリーフィング。はい。どうぞか。はい。私も一旦離脱します。
サウンド流してテストとかしても大丈夫です。ありがとうございます。ダメですか？びっくりした。びっくりした。すいません。はい。これ、画面共有大丈夫かな？これを。
スライド送ったり戻したりしてもらっていいですか？
はい。ちょっと、でもいい感じですね。そんなずれてない。危ねえ、危ねえ。大丈夫ですかね。ズームの皆さん、音声聞こえてますか？大丈夫ですか？大丈夫ですかね。ありがとうございます。はい、ありがとうございます。はい、はい、はい、はい。じゃあ、私、日本語スピーカーなので、はい、英語で頑張って。はい。そうですね。いや、英語で。はい、じゃあ、関係の設定は、そのままさっきのあれですね。はい、はい、yes, yes, yes. こんすいません。切った方がいい。まだあと2分。Next 2 minutes。
ごめんなさい。通訳が OK なのかっていうのは、通訳の人たちがスタンバっているかっていうんですか？通訳の設定はもうずっと入りっぱなしです。大丈夫ですか？この間も平さんに伝わったんで、多分大丈夫だと思います。ありがとうございます。通訳はもうずっとオンのまま通訳さんがスタンバってくれても入ると思います。 もう、そろそろ。もう、いいんじゃないですか？じゃあ、お時間になりましたので、はい。お願い。チェンジングチームウィズミュージックを、ピオさんじゃない、中島さんの方からお願いいたします。
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. I'd like to talk about changing themes with music. My name is Tomohiro Nakajima. I'm from KDDI Agile Development Center. Let's start. Center and concurrently at KDDI Corporation. My primary role is as a product owner. Introduction. Please raise your hand. Do you like music? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you, thank you. Next question. Does your team have a theme song or specific music you associate with your work? Raise your hand. Oh, thank you. If your team has own music, wouldn't it feel a bit embarrassing? I created music for a retrospective method that originated in Japan. Introduction. Music has often helped to bring countries, teams, and groups closer together. Many nations have national anthems. Some companies even have corporate anthems. Throughout history, groups have made and sung music to unite them. Music has power. Today, I want to talk about the wonderful experience of a team having music, drawing on the history of music's power and my own personal experiences. At first, I'd like to talk about history of music, teams and music. At first, nations, history of nations and music. And do you know national anthems? Yeah, most countries have their own national anthems. Your country have your own national anthem, maybe. And a national anthem is typically a patriotic musical composition praising the history, traditions, or struggles of a nation and its people. For example, British national anthem, God Save the Queen, God Save the King. And this song was composed as a prayer for the safety of King George II and the nation. It gained widespread popularity in the theater of London. And do you know what is the oldest national anthem? Which country? Do you know? The answer is Netherlands Wilhelmus. And this song was born during the era of the Dutch War of Independence. And nation is that's all. Next topic. Next topic is the history of sports and music. And sports and music are very connected. And music is very important in big sports events. For example, Olympic songs and anthems are chosen by IOC or its partners. They are played during the games and used in ads. I asked ChatGPT about iconic sports anthems. It mentions several songs that are often played as anthems at sports events, like this. Especially, We Will Rock You is very, very famous in Japan in soccer game or a baseball game. Yeah. Last topic is history of companies and music. Company and music. In Japan today, more companies want to make their own music. Do you know about it? Every year, over 100 companies join the National Company Song Contest in Japan. In 2023, this contest got 3 times more votes than in 2019. And the contest updates these songs and shares them on social media and YouTube. Masazumi Yugari says that company songs become popular when the economy changes. And when times are good, helping to improve performance and bringing people together whether times are hard. I want to talk about the case of GitLab. GitLab is a company, and GitLab has a website called the GitLab Songbook. The GitLab Songbook contains popular songs that have been arranged and rearranged by GitLab team members. GitLab Songbook has many songs that mention GitLab's value, helping to strengthen these values. I'd like to sing a song. My favorite sings from Sound of Music. I like this song. I'd give it a try. I want to sing a song. Commit merges emerging on issue. Commit integration always continue. All of the SDLC in one place. GitLab is one of my favorite things. That sounds good. I like it. I like music. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. From here, I will share my personal experiences. Yeah. A retrospective on the year of adding music to company and team journey. I want to introduce my company, KAZ. KAZ is KDDI Agile Development Center. KDDI is a Japanese telecommunications company, and KAZ is a group company within KDDI. This is a history of agile development at KDDI. About 10 years ago, only 5 people started agile development in KDDI. We gradually expanded in scale. In 2022, we became a separate company from KDDI. KAZ provides development support not only internal KDDI group, but also to external organization. I created and presented music using a retrospective method called Fun Down Run at this company. What is Fun Down Run? Fun Down Run is a retrospective method advocated in 2018 by agile coaches in Japan. It has become widely popular in the country. Place events that occurred in a Venn diagram like illustration, and categorizing them into one of the sections: fun things, completed things, learned things. And the team discusses which category to assign each event to. Yasunobu Kawaguchi, yeah. He is a Japanese agile coach and one of the proponents of Fun Down Run. Discusses the following points in his article. Japanese people have a characteristic where they cannot ignore problems. In retrospectives, Japanese people tend to focus only on pointing out problems without being able to improve them. There is a need for a Scrum methodology that fits the characteristic of Japanese people. Fun things, completed things, and learned things are all specific facts. By using this method, Fun Down Run, the point of reflection in each session can be built more positively. Realistic improvements can be identified and continuous improvement activities can be facilitated more easily. I was deeply moved by this retrospective method. So I made Fun Down Run song Why I made a Fandaland song? During the COVID-19 pandemic, we developed a web service for retrospectives specialized in Fandaland in between work tasks. Wanting to get many people to use this tool, I decided to do a sponsor talk at the Japanese Agile conference. I explored interesting methods rather than ordinary approaches. I knew GitLab song back then. Commit this emotion issue. Oh, as a result, I created and presented a song about the retrospective method. And the song creation was reviewed by my team, daily improved and created within a week. Please listen to the song. Let's dance together. Fandaland song English version. Hey! Just wait a minute. Oops. 共有の切りますか。これですよね。はい。これはいはいはいはいはい。コード。これですか。違うか。一旦切った。はい。さっき確認したんですよ。はい。これ入ってる。そうですよね。はい。もう一回行きましょうか。もう一回行きますね。はい。
Today was a happy day. Fun! Good job for the day. Done! We learned so many things. Learn! We understand the completely. Fun done! Fun done! Fun done! Looking back with joy all over us. Fun done! Fun done! Let's try fun done!
Oops. What happened after that? IT Presidents hosted a webinar for me. This company engaged in the education business for talent development and organizational development. Our colleagues danced with me RSCT 2023, and the number of users that developed this retrospective tool has rapidly increased. Many things happened, and that's Fandaland song was played during the video viewing sessions of Agile conference at various companies. And because of increasing the company's recognition by this song, I received an award within my company. And there was a person who compiled the song I made, and its chairman, her blog, she also received an award within her company. I talked about how one person who helped me showed servant leadership when I made this song. It received a great response with over 20,000 page views. It was selected for Speaker Deck's 2023 Most Viewed Decks. What happened? The following sequence emerged. I created and sang the Fandaland song, increasing the company recognitions, increasing the Fandaland recognition, leading to some people attending job interviews. Oh, excuse me, I learned about the company through the Fandaland song. Do I have to sing the Fandaland song if I join the company? Interviewers said, no, don't worry. Yeah. We are distributing cassette tapes of the Fandaland song on our sponsor booth today. This is Fandaland song cassette tape. Please participate in Pandaram by writing on a sticky note. Then we will give you a cassette tape as a gift. Take a photo and post it on social media platform like X, Instagram. Conclusion, changing my mindset. I created this song right after making it. I thought it was ridiculous. What am I doing? Creating music at a conference. Is this a foolish endeavor? I was so but as I mentioned, there has always been music in themes throughout history. It's the same in countries, sports, and companies. The music I made gave energy to the company and organization. Otherwise, this cassette tape would not have been made by our company's marketing team. Music made the team and the company more lively and fun. There must be reproducibility in this approach. Here's proposal. Why not introduce music in your team? Why not overcome embarrassment and introduce music into your team? Overcoming embarrassment and embracing music. I believe it doesn't have to be original or require composition skills. GitLab created music by making parodies of existing songs themed around GitLab values. Commit mercies, emotion on issue. Do you know Snow AI? Snow AI is automated AI composition service. For example, it might be interesting to summarize your company's core values or your team's inception deck and have them sung by Snow AI. Let's try. And that's all. Finally, I'd like to sing a song, Pandan Run song, English full version. Yeah. Yes. Let's dance together. Stand up.
Today was a happy day. Good job for the day. We learned so many things. We understand the complete. Fun done, learn. Fun done, learn. Fun done, learn. Looking back with joy all over us. Fun done, learn. Fun done, learn. Let's try fun done, learn. We didn't understand the thing. It's somehow hard to talk. We needed to write the test codes. P.O. is busy. Fun done, done. Fun done, done. When we are in pain, let's look back. Fun done, done. Fun done, done. Let's pause and have a talk. Pause and have a talk. Hello everyone. How was your day today? The fun moments, the tasks that were completed, and what we've learned. Let's sort out what happened into fun, dance, and learn. K-A-G, Japanese DX company. K-A-G, let's work together. Fun done, fun done. Looking back with joy every day. Fun done, fun done. Let's try fun done,
That's all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
何か新しい曲は作ってるんですか？
明日の9時半のスポンサートークにて、新曲をリリースする予定です。Tomorrow, 9:30, I will present a brand new song. Yeah, in a sponsor session. Come on. OK。大丈夫ですか？すいません。はい。Thank you so much.
OK。じゃあ、いけそうかな。はい。カメラも映ってそうなんで、このままいけると思います。OK。 Okay, time has come. Yeah, let's start my session. Thank you for coming this session. This session, I would like to cover how this conference. Do you enjoy this conference? Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. So today and the next 2 days, upcoming 2 days, we have the Scrum gathering, but we have a little unique culture this conference, I think. So that I would like to describe a little. But most of thing is the Japanese, some kind of tacit knowledge. But I would like to explain a little this conference about this conference. My name is Yasunobu Kawaguchi. I'm an organizer of this conference, and also I'm an agile coach at Agergo Consulting and Scrum Gathering Tokyo. This organization, the representative, and also I'm also representative at the DevOps Days Tokyo conference in April. And currently, recently I started a new company as a family company. Yes, no, but yes, no, but Corp. Yes, no, but yes, no, but yes, no, but yes, no, but. Okay. For the English speaker, you can easily pronounce the yes, no, but this is Yasunobu, my name. This is my company name. Sorry, spetta. Okay, and also we running the other Agergo Consulting. It is origin is Germany. Taniguchi-san started the Japanese living Germany and in Munich. Taniguchi-san started this company, and we collaboratively run so many Scrum Master training with the James Coprian and Zuji Shokoba and David Bernstein, and also other people. Michireshi also. The first of the origin and the culture of our conference. Our first conference is the Innovation Sprint 2011. This is the very historic event. We think the first contact with Dr. Jeff Sutherland and Professor Ikujiro Nonaka in Japan, this event. Why we did this event is at first January 2010, Jim Coprian let us know the missing, the Jeff is maybe, probably Jeff have not meet with Nonaka yet. In 2010, he said, wow, I saw we started making something happen in both people at the meeting in some occasion. Finally, 2011, January, we provide first CSPO product owner training with Jeff Sutherland and Gabriel Benefield. And then this event, Innovation Sprint, we invite them to the keynote speaker as a keynote speaker, Nonaka Sensei and Jeff Sutherland in one place. Historically, the first time the Scrum further and the Scrum grandfather meet this point. This is the origin of our event. After that, we started the Scrum gathering. This time, there's no branding of the regional Scrum gathering, just the Scrum gathering Tokyo, we said, 2011. After this time, maybe 11, I don't know, 12 or 30 years, we did this conference. At the first moment, there are several other similar conference in this community. This name is XP Matsuri and the Agile Japan. So, but why we need the new conference, Scrum Gathering Tokyo? Why is this point? Yes, XP Matsuri is a good for the newcomers. So many the beginners coming in, and there's a free conference, and great to start the knowledge start the journey of the Agile. And Agile Japan is a kind of the case study or and expanding the market. The need is the introducing the Agile to this Japanese market is Agile Japan's main issue. So that we need to have all the practitioners and more advanced topics and case studies we need. We think. So that we started this conference for the practitioners. Practitioner means, well, who is practitioner? Main target is us itself, ourselves. So that we think we need to focusing on the practitioner and ourselves. This RSCT 2013, we have this kind of emotional event in here. So we have this year we have so many attendees. The record over 300 attendees in that time. A little smaller than this year, but that is a record high. But this is the highest number. But we found unexpected time. The people didn't come evening party. Just inner circle people come in the evening party. That is sad thing. Daytime success suits coming, but the practitioner doesn't come. We found that. We named, this is in Japanese, gyazakan, the gathering feel. This is a lacking gathering feel, we think. That means the enthusiasm and the engagement is the significant drop. We think that this is a little something wrong. we think so that we are change the mind, focusing, not focusing the increasing number of the people. Gathering. The picture is a Scottish clan gathering picture. Gathering is not conference. We consider the gathering is some kind of people, family members, big family members coming in yearly or something, and have the talking. How's going this year? This kind of the ordinary families talk. This is a gathering means. Not some kind of big, great speaker coming to in front of the 100 people, in front of 1,000 people, and say something to the big audience. That is not gathering, we think. In Japan, we have the same kind of image of the gathering in the culture, the ordinary cultural thing. We call this is matsuri, festival. This week or the last week is so many festival. The New Year festival happened in the Shinto shrine. The matsuri is a traditional celebration. Japanese festivals, known as matsuri, are the traditional celebration rooted in Shintoism, Buddhism, and local customs. Wikipedia says. But in fact, we took several characteristics from matsuri at the festival. Number one, annual event, not fishing from not gathered by some kind of speaker coming in, famous people coming in, not famous people event, just annual event of fixed days. organized by local community people, ourselves, and self-managed and operated by ourselves. Not so many they paid the staffs, the paid crews here. Unfortunately, but that's good. And emphasis on the fun and passion. The Nakajima-san said the fun and learn. That's a great point of the self-organization, I think. So our conference also focusing on fun and passion. And then low cost and the small amount of the staffs makes the long-term sustainability. Very self-organized, very handmade, this kind of thing. And this makes the long-term sustainability, we believe. And supported by business communities, not business customer, not just a sponsor. They are also community, we think. So currently our platinum sponsors do the acting out today. Next day, they sing a song, new song by the platinum customer, a platinum sponsor. Always the guests from the foreign country, they're very surprised of this kind of acting out. But this is, I love this kind of the contribution of the culture by the business communities. I love it. This is just tourist information. Kanda Myojin Shrine, the very front, the close here, right? There's just 5 or 6 minutes walk from here. And this weekend, they have the Daikoku Matsuri. The Daikoku Matsuri is this kind of hadaka, raw, naked gentleman have the cold water. I don't know what's the meaning, but this is actual the YouTube channel. So sometimes in Japan is several same kind of matsuri. Is this kind of testing the brave of the humans, the mankind, the man? I don't know what the meaning. This is a kind of the Shinto, some kind of ceremony. If you have time, please check it. And also that we believe legitimate peripheral participation. In Japan is 正当的周辺参加. This is the peripheral to the central. The people, newcomers, start at the peripheral, the edge of the community, and then move towards to the center as a little gradually. They gain knowledge, they gain experience, step by step into the center. Like this. So we have the organizers and the speakers have some kind of the statue or the mikoshi or something. This is the center, but in the edge, the newcomers just seeing first, but gradually coming into the center, becoming a staff, becoming a speaker, becoming a sponsor, something. This kind of the organic growth of the knowledge is very important, we think. So we always emphasize participant as a speaker retention, not the growth of the attendees number, no focusing on these numbers, but we always always focusing on the participants, not satisfaction, participants' energy, and prioritizing staff experience also. The sustainable involvement for the organizing committee. The sustainability, the staff sustainability is very important, we think. This is a kind of a little opposite of the dynamic retrieving, but dynamic retrieving is okay, but very important, but I think so more and more stable team is a better solution, better for us, I think, at the low cost and also consistency in venue and the format. It's also always the reduce all cost, I think, we think. And the family are the same, the similar setting and the timing in this season, and this kind of this venue is always same, we think. And also budget system is a very consistent. The first 2 months is we had the early bird, we sell the early bird tickets and the first sponsors. This is the income side. In this amount of income, inside this income amount, we spent venue payments and the keynote budgets. At the right side is expenses. This kind of balance is very important. If we cannot sell the sponsors and early bird tickets, we a little postpone the keynote speaker, the selection, something or something. In currently, luckily, we do not, we have so many early bird ticket sponsors, they're very early. So we don't need to consider the reduced budget for the keynote speaker, but that is a fact. And also next 2 months is standard tickets and the next sponsors. This income to the expense to the novelty goods and t-shirts balance. The stickers, I think. And also the last 2 months, standard tickets and the last minute ticket, the selling, and in all the incomes, inside the income, we spend the bento boxes. It's a good bento boxes here. That is great. And the speakers parties. This is a kind of the budget model we strictly using. But in currently, we have the big change from the COVID in 2020. But after that, we started online fest. This is just online, but we gather 19 trucks from the various region communities across Japan, and other conferences also join this online conference. This is a Scrum Fest Osaka. And then in this time, we started using the Discord as a corridor, virtual corridor. We writing down the Zoom URL in each Discord and have the feedback from the people in the text chat. That is great. And then we always use Zoom meeting, not webinar. That is a great, familiar with the people. And then move to the hybrid gathering in the next RSCT 2021. We started do all videos put into the YouTube channel. In currently, we use this kind of the iPad here. We use center stage function. This means we have the Zoom and Discord camera, center stage, HDMI out, Wi-Fi, sound I/O in one gadget. So we are now less than 1,000 US dollar, but we do not need sound crew, no camera crew here. You can see that. That is a very consistency is coming for. But sometimes we have trouble, but I'm sorry. But yeah. Yeah, this is the it's the Nintendo, the ex-Nintendo, the Yoko Igube-san said, the little thinking and withered technology. I like this philosophy. And we do that every week, Wednesday, the Shinagawa Agile meeting, that just considering this, how can we set up this kind of, what should be the learn the next thing, the weekly, we think. The last experiment in this year is just throughout Japanese transcription. We started there for the individuals with hearing impairments. And a better online experience, we started the interview session in just the other side of the corridor. And also the searching for new venues, because ticket is sold out just 1 minute, so that we need to searching for new venues, good venues. And also we just started beyond the budgeting, gather the 10 of our conference in one place, and the monthly cash flow we are writing down, and throughout the year, what the conference is the profitable, or what conference is taking a risk, something. But there's no center control. We discuss by ourselves. This is our current status of this regional Scrum Council in Tokyo. Thank you so much. That's all from me. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm spent out all of the time. I cannot take the question and answer this slot. Please let me know any kind of question you have. Thank you so much. The next session is from the 3 o'clock. I don't know, 3:15, I think. The tea time. Yeah, 3:15. You have the about 30 minutes break. And we have the coffee room in second floor. Please check it. Thank you so much.
もしすみません、聞こえますか？通訳者ですけども。通訳者ですけども、つなぎましたので、同時通訳設定お願いします。
会場です。通訳者さん聞こえてますか？
はい、どうもすいません。
はい。じゃあ、この後15分からです。よろしくお願いします。
はい、同時通訳設定お願いします。
So now, timing for the next session. Yeah, sorry, sir. Please start your presentation.
Can you hear me okay? Ah, yes. Ready? So, hi everybody. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Sally Slowly. Oh, sorry. Yes, I am Italian originally. I do talk with my hands. Bear with. Anyway, I'm Sally Slowly. I am over here very happily from Sydney
Sorry to interrupt.
for about the last 8 years. Before
Hello.
that, from Seattle. Spent a very long time there.
すいません。同時通訳なってません。
はい。すみません。翻訳者さん、いかがでしょうか。
はい、同時通訳機能がまだ設定されていないので、全く対応不可能です。Yeah. Sally, can you hear me? Hello? Speaker needs to be able to hear me. すいません。講演者が私の声を聞き取れていないようです。
Happening, so please wait for a while.
I can do it for you. I can do the back one.
Eh, 会場事務局聞こえますでしょうか。Zoom でご参加の方申し訳ございません。同時通訳設定を行い、その上で日本語の音声を聞く方のみ、通訳の、メニューから日本語音声を選んでください。Just a quick note for speakers on, listeners on Zoom. Once the presentation starts, you will find there is an interpreting feature enabled. Select the English channel if you wish to have questions later presented in Japanese, translated into English for your benefit. The presentation and presenter is in English.
Hello, hello. Mic test. Mic test. セッさん、セッさん、今確認お願いできますか？運営です。セスさん、今、機能の確認いただけますか？聞こえてる。 じゃあ OK で。
So now trouble is recovered. So sorry. Please continue. Yeah.
Start back from the beginning.
Sorry. Not recovered. iPad. 聞こえてる？聞こえてます。聞こえてます。聞こえてます。聞こえてます。聞こえてます。してるはずですよね。大丈夫です。
で、今、こちら、英語チャンネルになってます。セッさん、英語チャンネルで喋ってもらっていいですか？ I'm in English channel. 聞こえてないのかな？これマイクがオフになってる。英語になってるね。セッさん、今、こちらチャンネル英語にしてるんですけど、今日本語で喋ってますが、これから英語にしました。今、英語チャンネルで喋ってます。聞こえます？大丈夫ですかね？セッさん、ちょっと英語チャンネルでお願いします。聞こえないですね。何が起こったのかな。セッさんの英語の音声を今喋ってると、今、セッさんの声が。さっきね、向こうで日本語で聞こえたんだよね、セッさんの声が。一回、
こっち日本語チャンネル。はいはい。
日本語チャンネルでセッさんの声が聞こえてます。じゃあ、このまま行ってみますか？ ?Not ready?
音。
セッさんどうぞ。もう今日本語聞いてます。日本語聞こえてます。大丈夫です。はい。はい、一旦始めましょう。もうあと時間が10分過ぎているので、はい。はい、わかりました。ありがとうございます。So now the translator to English voice is not connected here. This is trouble, but the Japanese is clean. So please say English and Japanese people can hear at least Japanese. Yeah, please go ahead. No problem.
Okay. Lack of curiosity, take 3. So once again, since we missed it earlier, I'm Sally Slowly, here today all the way from Sydney, Australia, which is a really long plane ride, but thankfully only 2 hours difference, so no jet lag, which is very nice. Something that's been bugging me for the last couple of years in the last few companies that I've been in is a lack of curiosity. And I very much see it as the silent killer of agility. I see people saying they're agile or trying to become agile, and yet there are no questions being asked. So what is curiosity? Curiosity is that beautiful thing that makes us see a sign that says, do not enter, and we want to enter. We want to know what's going on behind those doors. We see something happening that doesn't make sense in our context, and we want to know what's going on. Why? What would make someone act in a way that's completely different than we would? We want to question these things. And the cool part is we all start off this way. If you've ever spent enough time around small children, you get very tired of questions and curiosity. It's the constant why. You need to eat your vegetables. Why? The sky is blue. Why? You need to go to bed now, please. And they ask why. So we start off innately curious about absolutely everything around us. We touch things, we feel things, we taste things we're not supposed to because we want to know. But somewhere along the line, that goes away. And so what we're going to look at is how does this manifest in the workplace when people have no curiosity? One of the things that I see, and if any of you saw Alex's talk earlier, you heard about evolving and improving over time. You'll notice they're working the exact same way. You know, you'll go in and you'll hang out with them for a while. You'll help them find some new ways of working. You come back 6 months to a year later, and their boards look exactly alike. And the routines that they're going through are exactly the same. Nothing has changed. They're just heads down going through the motions. And I see this all the time. Another thing you'll hear a lot is that this is the way we've always done things around here. Or the other awful version of it is, well, management has signed off on this process or this way of working, and that's what we have to do. And nobody questions it. Nobody stops and says, why? Resistance to innovation. Somewhere along the last couple of years, every time I walk into a company, I hear the same thing. And it's the only thing we have to fix is velocity. We have to deliver faster. We have to do more. We have to get there faster. Only this stops them from innovating. All they're doing is becoming a feature factory where someone tells them what to do. They go through the motions, they do it, they release it, and that's it. And you'll find this a lot where people, stop having retrospectives. They stop thinking about what's happening and they just go with whatever they've got. Even when things don't feel right, people don't question them. I was at a company recently and they had bought an agile transformation from people who know nothing about agility, and they had all these playbooks and rules that they had to follow. And one day I jumped into their Scrum of Scrums meeting. Only as I looked around the Zoom window, I realized it was all the product owners. Scrum Masters were nowhere to be found. And afterwards, I asked one of the managers, I said, well, this was the Scrum of Scrums meeting, right? She says, yeah. I said, where were the Scrum Masters? She was like, oh, well, the playbook says that this meeting is for the product owners. I said, well, do you have a product owner sync? And she said, well, yeah. I said, who attends that? She said, the product owners. It's kind of weird that we have 2 meetings for product owners. I don't get that. But she never thought to question it. They've been doing this for weeks. no thought of, hey, should there be one for the Scrum Master? Should there be a meeting for the team? It was just going through the motion. And she looked at me like I was crazy when I started asking questions. Yeah, they focus on speed rather than improvement. They focus on meeting arbitrary deadlines. Managers love to set deadlines, and a lot of times when I ask them why, it's because they think that that is prompting their people to go faster. They figure if they have a deadline, they're going to get scared and they're going to work harder and get more things done. Only it has the exact opposite effect. So this is just a question that I want you to think about over the coming weeks as you go back in your office. Do you see a lack of curiosity in your workplace? Are you seeing some of the things that I've mentioned? Are you seeing other things? Really take the time to think about these things, because what I'm hoping is that at the end, we'll have a couple of ways to potentially bring curiosity back to some of these workplaces. So next up is, so we've got this lack of curiosity, but is there a cause for it? Are there things within that work system that are making this happen? that are allowing this to become the prevalent thinking rather than people questioning what's happening. Okay, humans are fun. We like to compartmentalize things. We like things to be easy. We like routines. The challenge is that we know that routines are going to make us complacent. Routines are going to stifle innovation because why change anything? We get stuck in our comfort zones, and sometimes we don't want to get out of those comfort zones. And when you've got a lot of people doing the same thing, we'll stick in ruts and stay there for years. If they're not having new experiences, if they're not being exposed to new things, they're not even going to have ways to understand that there are challenges. One of the things that I love to see happen is people working with other parts of the business, IT people working with marketing, marketing working with sales, sales working with HR, whatever it is, to get experience from other people so you understand how you fit into that system. And so potentially they can start giving you feedback, or you can start giving them feedback to make the entire system work better. Busy schedules. How many of you work with people or have calendars that are double, triple, and quadruple booked? Most every C-suite manager that I run across has 3 and 4 meetings at a time every single day. And when you ask them, do you go to all these meetings? They look at you and go, no. And they say, well, we just kind of wing it at the end. But then they're missing out on so much good stuff. So they're not even curious about what they're missing with those other meetings. And they're not curious enough to stop and say, hey, is there something I can do about this? Negative experiences. I've worked with a lot of people that I honestly don't know how they get up and go to work in the morning, because they get yelled at, they get screamed at, they get told they're wrong, they get torn down in front of other employees in a way that is shocking. I've had people, just put up with some insane nonsense, and eventually that wears them down to the point where they don't even try anymore. It's not that they're not curious. They just don't care about anything anymore. They simply go through the motions and get through work. Rejection, failure constantly can make you just not want to put yourself out there, especially if your ideas are shunned frequently. I know that happened to me quite a few times. I spent about 20 years at Microsoft, and there were a couple of times when I could see the end result of something that was happening. And I would call it out and I would write it in an email and say, look, I'm pretty sure this is exactly what's going to happen if you follow through with this. Completely got dismissed every time. And 2 of those times I was absolutely spot on. And within 6 months to a year, my predictions came true. And still, nobody ever asked, how did you know? What did you see that we didn't? Low self-esteem, and this happens a lot too. You'll find people who just, aren't as outgoing as other people, and sometimes they get left behind. And instead of, empowering them and bringing out their voices and helping them, or, you being curious enough to help them, they get left behind and they quit trying too. They don't really feel like what they're saying is worthwhile because maybe nobody's listening to them. And that just becomes a never-ending cycle. It's like a flat tire. Once it's flat, you're always on the flat side of it. Stress. Stress is another huge one. Depending on the type of work you do, your work can be stressful. We used to joke in software that, nothing really bad was going to happen. Yes, a website may go down for a little while, but nothing tragic was going to happen. And yet the stress was palpable. People were constantly under pressure to deliver and perform and, to be there at the beginning of the day, be the first one in and be the last one out. So you're perceived as doing more. But all of this leaves teams with no time to focus. There's no time for them to explore their own thoughts. How many of you have been in a situation where you have a problem that you're having trouble solving? And you're concentrating on it, you're focused on it, but then you take a walk, or you take a shower, or you start talking it out with someone else, just the act of talking out loud. Or my favorite is when you're trying to go to sleep and you're almost there and then you realize what you need to do. If you don't have curiosity, you lose all of that and you stop thinking about these things altogether. There's just no room for curiosity when there's too much stress. Some cultures and societies prefer conformity and the way things always were. There are a lot of places where that is helpful. You think about things like manufacturing. If you do the same thing over and over, the risk of you getting hurt is far less. So you don't end up curious about it, but in that instance, it's actually okay. But you've got to be able to have a safe place to explore. You've got to create a safe space for people to want to try new things and for people to be receptive to those new things. Additional type of stress coming from overburden. Almost every company I walk into has, anywhere between a year to 5 years worth of work in the backlog. And sometimes when I ask them about it, they say the same thing. Well, it all has to get done. I saw someone who was working in sprints, and every single sprint they were taking on 2 to 3 times as much work as they could possibly get done in their iteration timeline. And yet when I asked, maybe we could think about which are the most important things so we can work on those first, the response was, no, it all has to get done anyway, so what difference does it make? And again, it's one of those things where I prompt questions that I hope will get people curious, and they just shut down completely, and it just becomes part of their work. So with all those good things happening, what I want you to think about is, what can we do? What can we do as individuals? What can we do as a team? What can we introduce that might help bring curiosity back? Creating a space where people feel safe to experiment. One of my favorite stories was from a place called Nordstrom. There's a big shopping center in Seattle, and they created something back in the day called the Nordstrom Innovation Lab. They had a fantastically huge budget to do whatever they needed, and they were actually told that they could fail up to, 95% of the time, 80% allowed to fail. So what the manager said was, go create new things, go talk to our customers, experiment like crazy. You come up with an insane idea, go see if you can make it happen, because you're going to be safe to do this. And the incredible things that they did were amazing to watch. You can still see videos online on YouTube of them sitting in a shopping store, talking to customers and creating things on the fly, getting that involvement. Share failures and learn together. Agilists talk a lot about retrospectives, but a lot of times I see it only at the team level. Retrospectives with managers, managers with managers, IT people with, marketing people. Have those retrospectives, make it a safe place for them to share what's happening, because everybody's got a different perspective on what's happening. Encourage people to learn and share new things. I love being able to create stuff like this. I've seen teams where they'll do book clubs, and once a month someone will read a book that everybody's kind of voted on, and then they'll come back and share, over lunch or over a 1-hour standing meeting. Or managers will say, okay, we're going to set aside time for learning, and I'm going to bring in guest speakers on whatever topics you want to talk about. It just creates this environment where people are curious and want to learn. Setting goals, instead of setting up different ways of just looking at what you're doing, set up those small goals in your team. Say we're going to experiment with things, but set up some guardrails so that if it does fail, it doesn't fail too badly. Take the wins, celebrate those, and make that a habit. Figure out how good it feels to innovate, how good it feels to try new things, and keep that something that you want to do. Meetups. I love getting people to start going to meetups, start networking within their company and their community. A lot of times, I'll go in and talk to people about agility and Scrum and Kanban and all these wonderful things. But to them, it's just this thing that they do for work. But when they'll join us in the community and actually hear people talking about it and sharing stories about what a difference it made for them and their culture, it becomes something that they want to learn more about. Create that environment where learning never stops. So often I'll go in and people will ask me to do different types of trainings. But then at a certain point, they come back and say, okay, they've had enough training. They have to work now. They don't have enough time for this. And when you really look at it, it's kind of like when people say they don't have enough time to do the Scrum events. Well, they're really not that big and they really don't take up all that much time. But it's that perception that you have to be working and not learning. But again, if you're not evolving and you're not learning, you're dying. And in today's society, and especially in knowledge work, you fall behind, it's going to be real hard to pick that back up. Like I said, pair people with different parts of the business. I had a company at one point that had a roster, and I think it was every 3 weeks we would go and have coffee with someone that we didn't know from a completely different part of the company. And you would just go and you would spend an hour and you would talk to them about, what their job is. You'd share stories about the work. It was fantastic. I met so many interesting people that in a company that size, nobody would have met otherwise. I love when teams tell me they're agile and they talk about, customer focus and user stories, and yet they've never met a customer. And they've never thought to ask why. We build these things for our customers. And what's so great is when you get people engaged with their customers, they start to realize that they're not just building this stuff in a bubble. They're building it for someone. They're making someone's lives easier or someone's workplace better. And when they have a face in mind that they can think about as they're working, it improves everything because they're always going to be looking for ways to make things better for those people. Oh, sorry, I went backwards. This is one of my new favorite things that I stumbled across. Create competence goals. Create goals, or a lot of people use KPIs, key performance indicators. Create ones that are based on how much did this employee learn over the course of the year? How much effort did they put into making their skill set better? Rather than just, did you perform? Did you get enough story points out the door? And a little bit that I want to leave you with is another question that I want you to ponder over the next couple of weeks is, can you think of additional ways that you could spark curiosity in your workplace? I came up with a few that were based on my experiences, but all of you are going to have different experiences as well. Think about those people. Think about how they interact together. See if you can maybe come up with a way. And even if you can't, have a retrospective and talk to other people. Get all those voices in the room and see what you might want to experiment with. And the last question I want you to take home with you is, what are you going to do next week to spark curiosity in yourself? A lot of us have been really busy and had a really crazy year last year. How can you take a step back and start with yourself, fostering that curiosity? And that is me. If you want to get in touch, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm occasionally on Twitter, hoping to be more. I've also got my personal website. And for those of you who haven't run across me yet, back in July, I started #StopBadAgile on LinkedIn. I would love to have you all go to LinkedIn, look up that hashtag and find me. What's been going on a lot in Sydney, Australia is that people are selling bad agile. They're selling things that they know are going to hurt companies or set them back or never help them create any sort of agility at all. But it's popular and it's being sold. And so what I've done is all these birds that you've seen, I've drawn them as a way to highlight what these things are, hoping to spark curiosity in people to go, well, if that's not the way, what is? And so I'm hoping to keep that conversation going. So please join me on LinkedIn and be sure to participate. Let me know what you think of them. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I'm loving the conversations that have happened. And with that, any questions?
Sorry, now translation from Japanese to English it does not work. So please ask a question in English. 日本語から英語の通訳がちょっとうまく聞いてないので、すみませんが、英語で質問お願いします。
What's the worst bad agile you ever seen?
The worst I've seen is a company that is right now. Sorry, yeah, right. The worst right now is a company that has 3 different things that they're calling agile op models. Depending on the company they go to or whoever they haven't abused yet, they bring out a different one. And sometimes they tweak them, but essentially what they've done, they've taken what doesn't exist as a Spotify model. They've taken the worst parts of SAFe and they've taken really bad Scrum and they've turned it into an enforcement policy. Everyone has to work exactly the same way at exactly the same time, do the exact same events in the exact same way at the exact same time. Everyone has to use the exact same tools. Every single team or department across the company has to have the exact same roles. Now, it doesn't matter that these roles don't exist and there are no people who can fulfill these job descriptions. You must comply. And they actually put it into a computer and you can look up at any time who's not in compliance with the op model. It's terrifying. And this was one of those places where nobody questioned it. This was where the Scrum of Scrums came from. And they're just like, what do you mean that's for Scrum Masters? I was like, but it's in the title. Yeah, and what really hurts is that they go and they train people up as Scrum Masters and Agile coaches under this, and they tell them, yes, this is the way, go out and do this. And so they move on to another company and they're spreading this. And right now I can tell just from job descriptions of Scrum Masters, product owners, and Agile coaches online, exactly who's been affected by this, because they force you to comply with the language as well. You're not allowed to use Scrum terminology. You have to use their version of it. And so it's really creating a place where people spend years in these environments and they think they're doing good Agile, but they're not. And it's almost a self-perpetuating system. I see bad things and misinformation spread farther and faster than correct information ever does, because correct information is a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit harder to wrap your head around sometimes. You've probably heard people tell you that Scrum is too theoretical. Oh, that can't work here. What these kind of op models do is they make it seem simple. They make it seem very color by numbers. Oh, if you just put the green in box number 1 across the thing, you're going to have a forest, but you're not. Did that overly help? Yeah, hence the birds. I've been burned by a lot of really, really bad things. And I've sat in rooms where 10 people are saying this is Agile and I'm over here going, but no, it's not. And the manager looks over and goes, oh, 10-1. I'll stick with them. It's a little crazy. Anybody else? Yeah. Oh, here.
To continue the bird metaphor, can you give some examples of canaries in the coal mine that are early signs that curiosity is taking a hit? So how can you recognize it before the board stagnate and people grow despondent?
Oh. One that I see quite often is even when people are new to things like Scrum and the events, they immediately want to get rid of them. They've been through maybe 3 or 4 retrospectives and they say, oh, we've done enough. We've fixed all of our problems. We're finished. And from the outside, that's not true. You watch them being sad. You watch them not getting, through the work that they expected to. You see and hear what's going on. That's a really big one. Another one is when people will question decisions that have been made by management. And immediately they're told, well, so-and-so at this level has already bought off on it, so we're done now. That's the way it's got to be. And you'll just watch them, kind of put their hands down and you can see where this is going. They're already being stifled from questioning. So those are probably 2 of the biggest ones that happen the most frequently. Has anybody else seen anything that showed a lack of curiosity? You ever seen anything?
I think getting back to You mentioned today, Heidi, empathy, right? I think that is definitely linked perhaps to curiosity. If you don't have empathy for someone, I suppose, you may not be able to be curious about what they experience anymore, right? Because there's no empathy. So maybe curiosity is maybe it's more than just questioning. Maybe curiosity is an emotion. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, and I think that's part of how it manifests when it's coming from management. They don't understand what it's like to be a worker on the ground. They don't understand the pressures and the things that are being asked of them. All they see is numbers on a spreadsheet. And so they kind of enforce compliance with things that they don't even think to try to understand what's going on at the ground level.
Hi, question. So in a coaching context, let's say you're coaching a team or department or group of people, what are your kind of favorite techniques to introduce curiosity?
Typically, I try not to so much introduce it because I'm afraid if I were to, show something like this or start talking about what I'm seeing as a lack of curiosity, I fear that they would clam up even more. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll try to come up with retrospectives, something that matters to them, something that I can use. One of my favorites is getting people to have, I've got a deck of cards with all sorts of pictures on them, different things, some good, some bad, some, happy, some sad. And I get them to pull out one that expresses how they're feeling right now or how they're feeling about their last couple of weeks or their last month. And I get them getting in touch with those emotions and then talking to each other about those feelings and asking people, do you feel the same way? Do you see it the same way? Really just getting them to talk, and then I kind of build on that as time goes on. I found that it's not a quick fix. That is actually brilliant. I don't know if any of you ever heard of this, but there's something you can go online and find. It's called the Empathy Box. It was created by a couple of brilliant folks out of Malaysia, and it came about as a way for someone who was new in the country to make friends. And she started to notice patterns over time about how conversations, being respectful of other people's cultures, being respectful of other people's, are they introverts, are they extroverts, what is this? And they started coming up with these patterns. And so they built this beautiful box of cards that if you're having trouble starting conversations, you can use this to help guide you. So if you're one of those people who are always bouncing in with a solution, the cards actually help you step through and take it back a step to listen first. Yeah, highly recommend. I'm actually thinking about doing a talk on that this year because it's so important. But please look that up. It's a fantastic tool to have in your coaching toolkit. Can you tell us a bit about that one? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You know Lands work well as well, Susie, so feel free to chime in. So the Lands work is a great activity from organizational relationship systems coaching, where if you think of a cross-functional team with different roles like software engineer, quality engineer, maybe designer, or other roles, you can have them come together. You can do it online or you can ideally do it in person. And first you have people go into their land. Here is the software engineer land. Here is the quality assurance land, the product manager land, let's say. And then the facilitator asks some questions. What is it like in your land? What is important here? What are the challenges, for example? Then everybody leaves the land. So you make a wedge on the floor with tape. And then all of the people who are not product managers, please go stand in the product manager land. And then we ask questions. What's important to the product managers? What are the challenges? How can we help them succeed? And it's pretty cool. And then after the facilitator asks, for example, the product managers, what did they miss? What did they get right? What do you want to add? Things like that. It's pretty cool.
All right, everyone. Thank you so very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much for your perfect session. Thank you.
セスさん、すいません。またちょっとチャンネルの確認させてもらってもいいですか？どうやってやったらいいのかは、これどうやって確認できるんですかね？
今、口で喋って、
はい。
セスさん、今、英語モードで喋ってもらってもいいですか？今、日本語で喋ってみてもらっていいでしょうか？はい。まあ、あれわかったはい、ちょっとありがとうございます。今、本当ですか？ごめんなさい。今喋ってくれてたんですか？
説明をしてくれる。
はいはい。これ単純にボリューム上がってないだけなんじゃない？ちょっと待ってよ。何がかっていうと、ここで今、日本語が流れるようにしたけど、そのすらも出てないので、何もここから音が出てないっていうことです。ああ、ああ。
Why do we do it?